Alright, I'm going to show you guys a brand new game today, which is going to be Fairy Magic Tale Power Awakens. So as the name suggests, it's going to be based on the IP Fairy Tale. Now, I'm not sure how many of you guys watching right now have been following my channel since when I was covering Fairy Tale First Fight, which was a solid game in terms of its gameplay, but its content was just simply too repetitive, which is kind of why I gave up playing that game after about 3 or 4 months. But there is not actually that many good fairy tale games out there. This is pretty much the only other fairy tale game I'm able to find. So that's kind of why I decided to, just show you guys exactly what this game is all about, so you guys can decide whether this is worth playing or not. Now, this game, I downloaded from a Chinese mobile app called X7 Games, which I'll show you guys in a bit how to download that. But as you can see, everything's already in English, so you don't need to mess around with any translations, etc. In fact, because everything's in English, it almost makes me wonder whether there's already a global version out there, or maybe this is a global version. So if you know anything about this game, do let me know as well. Maybe it's called a slightly different name rather than Power Awakens, but do let me know in the comment section. Okay, so how do you actually go about and download this game? So basically, like I said, I downloaded it from this Chinese platform called X7 Game, which is essentially like the equivalent of Google Play. I will share this link in the description below so you guys can click on it. And basically, you see there is going to be a download button for Android and also Apple. I guess I haven't tested out Apple, so I'm not sure whether that actually works, but you can certainly download it on Android. And then once you actually download this will be installing the actual platform itself rather than the actual game, which is very Magic Tale Power Awakens. But once you have actually downloaded this app, which is what I have on the screen here on the left hand side, what you can do is you simply go to this tab called Me here to log in. The way you log in into this platform is actually quite nice. You don't actually need to create an account yourself. You basically just enter your email address, so your existing email address. So for example, it could be a Gmail. You press get code and it will send you a verification code in your email. So basically you can log on to this without actually setting up a password or like a dedicated account for this platform, which is quite nice. And then once you have done that, you can then obviously search for Fairy Tale here, and then you can then see this game here, which you can then download onto your mobile. Okay, now let me show you guys the actual gameplay so you can get a feel of how this game actually works. So this is a classic gacha game. So basically you collect very different characters which you get by summoning for them. Now in terms of the character it covers a lot of different characters all the way through to the end of the series, I believe, because you can see here there's Zeref, there's Acnologia, there's also God Serena as well. So it does cover quite a lot of different characters actually from all of the different arcs, etc. There are also some really cool costume, I think like special event characters as well. Because if I go all the way to the end, you can see there are like for example a vampire version of Midnight, which I don't think it was in the series at all. There's this Light Lord Stain, there's Dark Light Luxus, Dark Moon Rogue, a bit of a typo here I guess, a maid version of Juvia. So it is actually quite cool that's able to cover some costume version of the different characters, etc. So that's kind of all the characters you can get in the game. I will, yeah, you know what, let's do a temple right now just so you guys can see the summoning animation as well. There is a bit of a pity system, I believe. So you can see I am at least guaranteed an S character here, even though the highest rarity is SS, I believe. Okay, so let's see who can I get here. So the summary animation, as you can see, is kind of the zodiac keys. That's kind of the basis you can see of the characters here. And then I got Mystigan. So that's basically what it is. Can I do any more? No, I can't do any more. Let me just get this, get a bit of a currency. Let me see whether I can do another summon here with this. Can I do this? Yeah, so I can basically purchase it with the diamonds, which is another in-game currency. And you know what? Let's do another temple here just to show you guys the full animation because I skipped it briefly earlier on. So it starts off with all of the zodiac keys. There's a bit of flashing light when all of the characters come out, etc. And then you kind of go into this. So I didn't get lucky here. I don't think so. So that's basically how this works in terms of summoning. Now, in terms of the very different game modes, you have the adventure, which I guess in other games will be the story mode. But it's not quite the story mode here because there is actually a game mode called story in the game itself, which is kind of why it's not really the story mode. But let me just show you different functions. So there's the bar, which is where you summon. There's obviously a guild, so you can do a bit of like guild boss, guild challenges, etc. There's ranking, which is just basically seeing how fast you are competing against other players in the PvE. There's this challenge, which is basically where I say there's this story mode, and the story mode actually covers the very different arcs of the series. So you can see there's the Oration Says, there is the various different arcs you can see of the Guild Civil War, etc. So those are all pretty cool as well. And you can see it covers a lot. It covers all the way. I mean, those are still stay tuned. So they'll probably be released later on. So the game is still being updated. So there we should, I don't think it's going to reach end of service anytime soon. So you should still have a good amount of fun while playing this game, uh, going through all of those different chapters, etc. There's this entrustment which I haven't actually unlocked there. There's this arena, so there's a bit of like PvP element if you're interested in that. Then what else? I think that's the main one. This is the classic tower mode as well, where you just try to climb as high as possible. So that's kind of the main different modes you have. And like I said, you always have the default adventure. Now, let me show you the actual kind of adventure mode, which is kind of the main mode here, and just show you how the battle actually works. So when you go into battle, you basically can pick 4 characters. There is different roles of the characters. So you can see here, some have a shield icon, some have a sword icon, just to show you what kind of role they fill. Now, I can now basically let me just change it up slightly. So I'll put Juvia here. I'll put Mystica, who I just obtained. Um, yeah, let me just do this here. And then outside of the 4 character you can have on your first team, you can also bring up to 4 support character for every single one of them as well. So for example here, I can actually select Lucy, for example, to support my Juvia, etc. So you can actually set up a lot of different customization here. You can see there are loads of like 3-star character. They are essentially going to be used as folder in order to increase the ranking or the rating of your main team. So for example, you may start off with only 4-star, but then once you actually have merged it with other 4-star, you can then actually increase it to 5-star, etc. Okay, so that's basically how you set up the team. There's also kind of the skill customization if you want to play around with that, and then you can go into the actual challenge itself. Now you don't actually manually control the characters. You can put everything just on auto mode. Obviously you don't have to put it on auto mode. If you don't put it on auto mode, then you actually have to choose the different attacks yourself, I believe. Yeah, so you then actually choose the different attacks yourself, which attack you want to use, and also whether you want to use the support character's attack. For example, I can actually use Lucy here for the support rather than use one of Juvia's skill, etc. If you just want an easier time, then you obviously simply put it on the auto. Okay, so that's basically the main battle mechanics, and that's how you progress through adventure. Um, Once you go through adventure, they do actually kind of tell you the story in kind of like a comic narrative, which is I think is like fairly cool in terms of the way they present it, rather than kind of like in some games they give you like a animation cutscene, etc. In this game, it's all about like kind of comic, I guess, presentations, etc. And then maybe a few like a screenshot from the actual anime itself. But that's basically how the story mode works, etc. Okay, now the last thing I'll probably show you guys is just kind of customization of the different characters. So when you actually go to the character you have, like I said, you can start up your character to increase its rating. So for example, here you see Natsu is a 4-star. I can merge him or fusion him with 4 other 4-star characters in order to make it a 5-star, etc. You can also awaken it, which I haven't actually unlocked, so I'm not too sure exactly what resources it needs at that point. If you go into the details, you can see the very different skills of the character itself. You can also put on gears, etc., which is quite nice. And then there's a special training, which is just like I think like additional buffs for the character. So that's kind of all the customization you can do on the very different characters. Um, so yeah, so this is basically a quick overview of Fairy Magic Tale Power Awakens. I don't think it's an official license game, which is kind of why it's called Fairy Magic Tale rather than Fairy Tale, just to distinguish it a bit. But as you can see, it obviously follows what based on the Fairy Tale IP. Um, I mean, let me know whether you guys think this game is any good. I think, I mean, like I said at the start of the video, there honestly are not that many fairy tale games out there. So this is pretty much like one of the only ones remaining, which is happen to be in English as well. So it can actually be played without any kind of like translator, etc., which I think is quite nice. So if you're a fan of series, I think like it's probably worth giving a go. Especially because I do think like in terms of the characters you can get, that from a gacha point of view or from a collector point of view, it's actually quite nice to in order to collect kind of characters across the whole series, as well as some more custom version of some of the fan favorite characters as well.